By the way, just to give you a sense of where we are, there is a leak coming here. This is where the fireplace is in the living room.
Yeah.
There's a leak over against this fireplace going down into a guest room. And so all of the leaks are around these places where we've got changes in plane from vertical to horizontal. And I assume, you tell me, that's most likely because of the way the bottom of this section was done here.
There are so many things that could be causing a leak in this area.
Let's go through them.
So this is number one. This is number one. This is number two. I'm not sure what's going on here, but somebody, probably my guy, circled it in red. There's some kind of a buckle here. Obviously, we know that they terminated the roof here at this edge.
And so what happens is water comes down and then rolls in because it doesn't have a lip, or is that, or it doesn't have a, oh, look what I just did, idiot.
If you're gonna, obviously you want to roll the roof up, and you don't need to be a roofer to understand dynamics.
No, you need surfaces that,
you want like to, you want to roof up.
Yeah.
Now you might say, but, okay, well then how does that explain the edge? Well, there would be additional things we would do at the edge, and I can't tell if they did that without cutting a piece of it out, and we're not going to do that now. Yeah. Let's assume they screwed that up too. But there would be additional things that you can do at the drip edge to mitigate that hot tar membrane to metal drip edge transition. So your metal is basically shaped like an L, right? And this part extends down into your gutter, right?
Okay.
And so then you would roof something waterproof underneath.
Okay.
And then under. Then you would cap your drip over, do a special strip across here, which is part of a bonded spec.
Okay.
And then do your membranes.
Okay.
So
the water can only go over the membrane into the gutter.
Well, let's say this fails.
Yeah.
If you've done a waterproofing underneath the metal, so in other words, it's in like a waterproof taco, the water will go like this and then out into the gutter.
Okay.
So there's ways you can mitigate a failure of a hot tar to drip edge connection.
Got it.
There's a whole thing there.
I mean, these are the most sensitive areas, obviously.
Yes. Yeah, well, and you just don't do it this way.
Yeah.
You just don't do it this way.
Okay.
So, and then, now I had thought from the data that I had, yeah, I can't tell, but yeah. I think they terminated it down here too, because this is so tight. You would think this, I would expect this to be flared out, but bottom line, there's no cant strip here. There's nothing here. Now, the way this is done, did your GC do this?
I mean, a stucco contractor did that.
That he hired?
Yes.
This is wrong. This transition here, that needs to be this, the bottom of this should be up here.
Okay.
And then this should be up here.
Okay.
So this piece of metal needs to be up about there. Because we need some room to put the can strip and then bring in our roofing and then the metal covers it. This is, you need to, the bottom, this transition spot needs to be minimum 4 inches off the deck. I believe that's code. And in my experience, so if you've got a hard rain out here, you're gonna have a sheet of water all the way over here.
Yep.
And when rain comes down, okay, from the sky, it'll bounce up that high.
Right.
So if it hits right here, which of course it's going to, it'll bounce right up in there.
Yep.
So this is all bullshit, the way that's done. So.
And we've got 1, 2, 3 of those fireplaces, probably all done the same way.
Yeah, that's wrong. So, other than that, it's great.
But
this is comprehensively, this is installed comprehensively wrong.
And just recap for me, because I understand the issues with the bottom down here. What about up here again? Is that okay? Is that, or is that not really usually an issue?
Yeah, no, so I've talked about how there needs to be a uniform bleed out from membrane to membrane overlap. There also needs to be a uniform bleed out here. Now they did use the right kind of metal.
Okay.
So you see how it rises up like this?
Yes.
The point of that is to allow when the hot tar squishes out, okay? So when the hot tar bleeds out like this, it rolls up against, right up in here, And if you're doing it right, you will occasionally spill over. That's why I always have my guys painters tape the whole thing.
Okay.
Otherwise, because if you're doing it right, you're gonna spill hot tar over the side. It's almost impossible because it's really dynamic when it's hot. It's 450 degrees.
Yeah.
That stuff moves. It's weird. So there's no hot tar here. That's not good. And when I do see hot tar here, it's like somebody smooshed it out instead of it naturally flowing out. You can see when it's done right, there'll be a nice, like this is wrong. See how it's proud? See how my, it shouldn't be like that. It should be, so that's more proper. Look at how wide this bleed is. That's about right. And see how my probe will go right over it?
Right.
This is,
It's
so
just gonna
somebody
stop.
forced this.
Yeah.
They forced it.
Okay.
Indicating, once again, an improper amount of hot tar being used. So,
What about, you know the crack that's on the living room? That's, I think the living room would be over here, right?
Yeah.
Is that a superficial crack that, I don't know.
I think that's a different issue, babe.
Okay, but have you pointed that out to me?
if you see cracks inside and you don't see, obviously if you see water associated with it, you know it's a leak. If you don't see water and you don't see stains as well, it's probably not a leak. It's probably structural, some subsidence. If you're using plasters and stuccos and things like that, some cracking is not unbelievable. This is LA after all.
Yeah.
But you will know it's a leak when you start seeing yellow staining around said crack. So.
Okay, I know that a lot of this is more of same, obviously, so you know, take a cursory look if you want, but then I want to take you back over to the skylight where we have the worst problem.
Yeah,
Really
the
bad
application methodology is consistent. Although this is an interesting example of somebody really, you know, that's almost excessive. This amount of bleed out, there's quite a bit. But then you see there's none. And then we have tons. None. So this hot tar doesn't look hot enough.
Okay.
It's not settling.
Okay.
It's like it's behaving like lava.
So when it settles, it smooths out more?
It's when hot is the right temperature, it'll go quite thin.
Okay.
So my guess is it was probably both. They probably applied hot tar too hot and probably not hot enough because they didn't know what they were doing.
Okay. And that's why we've got these inconsistencies in textures and levels and smoothness.
And then on top of that, the most alarming thing of all is the fact that the granule loss evident everywhere on 100% of the roof is not consistent with a 7-year-old, 72-pound mineral surface.
How does granule loss occur?
Granule loss, it just occurs over time.
Okay. Oh, so what you're saying is,
As the
an
petroleum oils
Yeah.
evaporate out of the asphalt matrix, the granules will lose adhesion and come off.
right, just from
This
the
usually
elements and rain.
takes
And,
well over 10 years.
okay.
This roof, if I didn't know anything and I came up on this roof and you said, "You're the expert, Matt. How old is this roof?" I would have said, 13 years old. It's definitely 13 years old. There's no way this isn't 13 years old.
So without putting words in your mouth, that suggests an inferior product.
Oh no, I already said that there's something.
You said it
wrong
earlier
with
in
the
the
product. Yeah.
video. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like roof seconds to me. So
What
usually,
are roof seconds?
Usually a mineral surfaced roll that becomes a second, it almost always is because of when the granules, the little waterfall of granules in the process, there's a hiccup. And it's not spreading the granules proper. I buy seconds, so I know what they look like.
Yeah.
I don't use them for this. I use them underneath tile.
Okay.
Because they make fantastic tile underlayment, because a little bit of granule loss is irrelevant in a tile underlayment waterproofing situation. So I'm very familiar with what a seconds product looks like where the mineral distribution is inadequate. This is exactly what it looks like.
But you don't use it in a mission critical location where you need.
You use it when you're trying to save $1,200, and that's the worst part. Is they only save like $1,000, maybe $1,500.
Yeah.
That's the worst part.
Let's walk around to that skylight because we've got really bad issues over there, if you don't mind. My contractor said that it was a failure of the window itself. I'm interested to know your opinion of this.
Where do you see the water?